60 minutes long, depending on questions. I wanted to tell you what we're going to talk about that night, and then make a drawing for you. The first thing we're going to discuss is why sometimes your lab values might appear normal and you still are having thyroid symptoms or you still don't feel good, and what that means. And feel free to bring your labs with you so we can look at them together. We're going to talk about the most common patterns of thyroid dysfunction. No two people are alike, and everyone's got different types of patterns, yet there's going to be the most common patterns that we see. We're going to spend the bulk of our time that night talking about the most common pattern of thyroid dysfunction. We're going to be talking about why maybe you're on medications but you still don't feel good. We're going to talk about natural solutions for all different patterns of thyroid dysfunction. And before we sign out for today, I'm going to make a drawing on how thyroid hormones are made so you have a little bit of background that night. So, as you know, if this is the brain, the production of hormones for everything in your body, thyroid, adrenals, and other endocrine organs, begins in an area of the brain called the hypothalamus, which signals a little organ called the pituitary to make a substance called TSH, also known as thyroid stimulating hormone. It's one of the major things that they measure when they do your blood. The TSH goes to the thyroid, which makes a substance called T4. T4 is commonly what they'll give you synthetically in Synthroid, or one of the generic versions of Synthroid. But what most people don't know is that T4 has no action in the body. It's very stable, it can transport around, but it needs to get converted to another substance called T3. And that conversion happens in your peripheral tissues at the cellular level, but the bulk of it happens in the liver and in the large intestines. And we'll talk about some of the things that can disrupt the conversion of T4 to its activated form of T3. So review this a few times, maybe write it out so you can understand it, and then you can look at your labs and say, how come they didn't measure T3 or free T3, and what does that mean for me? We'll go over this, and I'll make sure by the end of the night everyone understands this in great detail, and they'd be able to draw it out for their doctor and say, how come you didn't test this? We look forward to seeing you June 10th.